Hello everyone, I am Custom, a competitive Splatoon 3 player and coach, and today in this video I'll be bringing you my thoughts and reactions to the latest patch to be brought to Splatoon 3 version 6.0.0. If you like what you see, consider liking and subscribing. It always is very helpful and lets me know you really like these sort of videos, and if you want to see more of these videos as well as other coaching content, it'll help you find those as well. And if you want more coaching from myself, I'll leave my Metafy link in the description below. And besides that, let's get going. So we already knew about the season and catalog changes, so she'll see the new catalog, new gear, quote-unquote new gear. If you paid attention to Twitter, there's some repeat pieces of gear, which some people were not a fan of, but it kind of is what it is. We kind of have to deal with it. But otherwise, I think it'll be interesting to see. I'm not too big into kind of what's shown off in the catalog, but it'll be interesting to see nonetheless. New stages: Robo Ramen and Bluefin Depot. So I want to talk about Bluefin Depot a fair bit, just because of the zone we saw in one of the trailers for the stage. It actually has a mobile zone, which I think will be quite interesting. Just because zone is typically an immobile objective, so it's not really going to be going anywhere anytime soon. And for those familiar with Bluefin Depot, you know that it has a split mid or a split middle of the map, so it actually gives both sides a purpose besides just having the one zone on one side of the map. Two new special weapons, that being the splat color screen, which we will be talking about later, and the triple splashdown, so a reworked special from Splatoon 2. So I'm actually kind of excited for it, just because as much as you can cancel it, it still seems like it can be very difficult to do, mostly because of the two other splashdowns that appear in front of you, but we'll see how people play that out. 9 new weapons, we'll talk about that shortly. New King Salmonid, I think that'll come along with Big Run on this weekend, so again, same week as recording this video, and 11 new table curve cards, so for the weapons, special weapons, and King Salmonid. And new songs from Chirpy Chirps. I forget exactly what they're called, you can probably remind me. I'm not one to remember the exact names of all the songs. I have more things to remember and keep in my head. But anyways, new specials: triple splashdown, so jump in the air and come down alongside two fists, so yeah, triple splashdown, the whole kind of 3 pattern Nintendo wants to stay with, so I think it's actually quite interesting. It's a nice rework. It's a bit slower than the splashdown in Splatoon 2, if you played that version. It was arguably one of the lower tier specials, if not one of the worst specials in the game, just because you could easily cancel it. But with this, it'll be definitely a lot harder to cancel all 3. So all 3 like splashdown, so yourself and the 2 decoys you put in front. And with super jumping, you can still do that with splashdown, but it'll just have your main splashdown instead of like the 2 kind of like decoys, if you want to call it that. And other special spot color screen, so that's been interesting. I actually want to see how this works, because it's not like a shield that's kind of impenetrable. You can still fire shots through it, but it has its downsides of, yeah, taking damage and having grayscale and audio issues for a little while. Kind of interesting. New weapons. Main ones I want to point out, probably Foil Squeezer, Custom Blaster, and S-Blast. I'll probably play those a lot, just because one, I've been a big avid fan of the Blaster class since the first game, and Squeezer I think will actually have quite a lot of potential in terms of changing the meta, see how things go on. Oh, and Neo Splatoon Stamper as well, so Crab Mist, that's not correct. Toxic Mist and Crab Tank. It'll be a pretty good Rainmaker weapon, but you probably have to set up Crab very aggressively in order for the Stamper to actually get like its potential, because it's meant to be more further up front, if anything. But yeah, the rest of the kits I'm not too inclined on, but if you want to leave your thoughts about it in the comments, let me know. Start a discussion that way. 96 and 96 Deco. So these are just like the only weapon changes, nothing crazy. It's probably the smallest one. I think this patch is just meant to kind of add quality of life things and just new things in general. So nothing too crazy with the weapons. So things will probably stay as they are, as well as special weapons, so special usage cooler is not going anywhere. 96 reduced ink, so you fire a few extra shots with 96, which it is pretty incongruous as a weapon, so it's kind of nice to see. I don't use it too much, but it'll actually be interesting to see in how people kind of, I guess, change their gear just a little bit, not to run like Inksaver main as much, if people run that. Range Blaster, ink radius is a splatter against walls, so it paints walls a bit better as long as you don't hit them, so the indirect burst will paint a lot better. I don't know what this means for like painting the floor, but for walls it's definitely nice and helpful for painting those quicker. Dreadringer reduced amount consumed by approximately 10%. I don't think this will change it super much, just because Dreadringer it's like super slow and it's not really rewarding. Because even though you can hit both sloshes with the weapon, it just does 90. But in my opinion, it's a lot harder than people think. So if you hit both, I feel like it should be a one-shot. I don't know if that'll like break the weapon or not, but that's just my honest opinion. Heavy edge splatling increase number of spray droplets, so you fire even more shots with your charge. So you actually get a nice painting buff, so it's able to keep up with the painting weapons and the fast pace of the game, as well as just other backlines in general, because Heavy Ed does have a slight range disadvantage against chargers, which are quite prominent, as well as other splatlings like Ballpoint and Hydra. But we'll see how people implement that. Reef Slider, 13 frames. You get invincible 13 frames earlier. So when you deploy special, you're invincible 13 frames sooner. That's not really the main problem with Reef Slider. It'll probably still be a bomb. I could probably put money on that, to be honest. But the main issue with Reef Slider is just its end lag. Because most of the time, like, you're dying out of Reef Slider because you don't have the downtime. Or there is so much downtime, so you can't really react or adjust to what's going on around you. Which is kind of shitty, but I think it won't really change it that much. What they really need to change is that downtime after the Reef Slider is over, because that's just where people are taking like the most punishment for using it. Shooter buffs, I feel like for honestly no reason. Just Squelcher doesn't have a bomb, so may as well give it 180. Again, I don't think they've learned their lesson that much, but I don't really see the point of either of these. In all honesty, none of them are like really, neither weapons are really game breaking. Like, yeah, you can run Jet a bit more, I guess, if you want like a vac, but people like to run 96 a bit more just because it can play more aggressive and it can also two-shot. So Vacuum wants to be upfront with his team as well, so we'll see how teams react. I don't think really anything will change though, and same with L3. Not many people run it. It's just super inconsistent, it's just super hard to aim with cooler meta, so I don't think it's going anywhere. But that's all the weapons and special weapons. So they changed things towards Anarchy battles and X battles. I mostly want to focus on X battles just because this is quite big. So now they're separating it into two more categories. So not just Tentatek and Takaroka, but you're also dividing it between players who are less than 2,000 XP and over 2,000 XP, almost at 2,500, but that's not the case. Below 2,000, above 2,000. Those two groups will be separated, just so say you have someone who's 1,900 and go against a top 500. That doesn't make sense. So they're kind of dividing that up, which I think is really, really healthy and actually really helpful. And they're also changing the amount of points, so this isn't like a given amount you'll get for 3 wins and 0 losses. This is just the minimum you'll get. This is the minimum change that'll happen. If you lose all 3, if you're less than 2,500, you'll lose at a minimum 75 points. But if you lose all 3, you'll lose, oh my gosh, you'll gain 75 points if you win all 3. And I think it's the same thing for 3-1, but I don't know if it's just like a range. So for example, if you get 3 wins, 1 loss, you'll get anything from 50 to 74.9, or if you'll get more than 75, who knows, but I think it's probably just that range, so 50 to 74.9. And the same thing for the other things, 2,500 to 3,000, 3,000 or higher. Again, these are just minimums you'll gain or lose. It can definitely change to be, for example, more. You'll lose more if you lose. and you'll definitely gain more if you win. Those are just the bare minimum. Added badges, so new badges, I like to see this. Just the inner collector in me likes to see this. So you get a badge for reaching 2,000 or higher. Win streaks, well, in 2,000 or higher you get badges for that. And you get badges for 50,000 up to top 10, which I think they'll probably do it like table turf, so how they have like each, like the bronze and then has like a little square, like a glowing square, and that just goes up and up from there. I think it'll probably be like that, but we'll have to see what will happen there. But I'm at least getting to top 1,000 because I have not reached top 10 yet. I have top 500. Top 500 rather, pardon me. Players can attain them based on their rank at the end of the season. Okay. Starting with chill season. Okay, cool. So people will get those. The first time a player meets the condition of obtaining one. Okay. Yeah, and they'll just obtain one. Okay. Salmon Run. Again, not too hyped, but you will at least get to the specials like that are longer range, so Inkjet, Crab Tank, Whale, Booyah Bomb, and Triple Ink Strike. New King Salmonid, Joe, or better known as in English as Megalodontia. And we also get to add Triple Splashdown and Kraken Royale. So from what I've seen with Kraken Royale, it doesn't pierce through metal, so like Steelheads, Drizzlers, where are some other ones out there? I can't think of them from the top of my head, but you can probably remind me, those Salmon Run freaks out there. My goodness. You can remind me what else is metal. But Kraken Royale does not pierce. It does a lot of damage, and you can one-shot with its charged. You can definitely clear space quite nicely. Big Run, so this isn't for the badges, this is just for the reward. So in order to get, say, the gold decoration, which I think is like a golden egg, you have to reach however many golden eggs. That's not for the badge, that's for the decoration. So for people who still want to get the gold badge, you still have to get top 5% in Big Run to get that, which I think is a nice detail because it, I guess again, as the collector in myself, I want those golden rewards, so helps a lot. With normal jobs, okay, I think this is like really big just for anyone who grinds Salmon Run in general, just so they don't have to waste time grinding and they actually get rewarded with what they do. So with gold badge, that's 999 or executive VP, 600 for silver, 400 for bronze, and 200 for like just a regular badge or no badge. So you'll start at these EVPs if you have these badges for a specific stage, which I think is really good because it just rewards these players for reaching max EVP and so on. Type of King Salmon will show up, so that's just your smell meter. Change the Swap Fest. Again, nothing too crazy. Besides just quality of life things to the lobby. Change the SWATnet 3. Kind of, again, just quality of life, nothing like really game changing. But besides that, that's about it. Not a large patch this time around, but it's a patch nonetheless. And it's definitely a nice way to add a lot of new things to the game, not necessarily change them. I think they'll do that with what they typically do partway through the season, so they'll do an update, do a patch, change a lot more weapons, change how a lot more specials work, see how things work out within the first month and a half, just as a way to experiment. So I kind of look forward to that as well. And if you have any further opinions or thoughts, please leave them in the comments below. I want to see what you guys think as well. And besides that, I will catch you all later.